Hey, this is Mark A. Altman.
And this is Darren Doctorman.
And this is Ashley Miller.
And we are the animated, inglorious
Treksperts.
Oh, I'd like to see an episode where we're animated. I don't want to be a puppet, but I would like to be animated.
Be hand-drawn.
I already saw the episode where the character turned into a puppet. It was called Smile Time on Angel. I don't need to see that happen again. It was very clever on Angel, but it's like a one-time thing.
It'll never be clever again.
It's not clever if it's already been done. Sorry. Anyway.
That's like making a live-action Muppet movie.
Yeah. What the hell?
A live action. Well, if it's The Godfather, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not get started on one of our Muppet rants.
I believe in America.
Wow, that's worthy of Steve Melching. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
That's nice. Well, today I'm very excited because, of course, we're talking, about really one of the triumphant new Star Trek series, beloved show called Lower Decks. And to do that, we brought in Mike McMahon, Brad Winters, and Kevin Westlake. Mike, of course, is the showrunner, co-creator of Lower Decks, as well as Solar Opposites, and producer Brad Winters, and composer Kevin Westlake. And we happen to have on this episode a Lower Decks super fan. Yeah, and he got to talk to his screen idols, Mike McMahon, Brad Winters, and Kevin Westlake at the recent Star Trek Las Vegas. I could not imagine a person better prepared to moderate this panel than Superfan. Why don't we bring him out? Ashley Edward Miller, welcome to the show.
Here I am. No, let me tell you something. That panel is some of the most fun that I have had at a Star Trek convention in I don't know how long. And I'll tell you why. Because not only are those three guys so much fun to talk to, not only is there a special surprise guest that I'm not going to spoil.
Tawny Newsome?
Yeah, thanks for spoiling it.
Because we're going to promote her in the freaking... We're not going to not mention that Tawny Newsome is on the episode.
So we have a special guest, Tawny Newsome, and she shows up and she's amazing. And
Andy Newton? What?
Yeah, Isaac Newton.
Andy Newton, star of that terrible remake of Charade and Westworld.
That's right. She's going to just walk on for some reason. No,
Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2.
I had a huge
not
crush
this bitch. Yeah, me too. Oh my god. No, it's a lot of fun because the fans were fun. I don't know that I have seen that much enthusiasm from Star Trek fans in decades, man. Like, those people showed up to play. They were into it. They were having fun. They were excited to be there. It wasn't like, oh, this is my favorite Star Trek show, and I'm glad you're showing it your respect.
I love Lower Decks fans.
Totally.
They're young, they're hip, they're excitable.
They're chanting. I nearly got them to invade the main stage.
You screwed that up, man.
I should have done it.
You screwed that up because you did a great job with this panel. But the one thing you should have done, once they were all like Spartacus, they were all worked up and everything, you should have just said them in. It would have been so funny if they all ran in the main stage and started saying, yo, Lower Decks, Lower Decks. It would have been awesome. And then they came back to our stage. Everyone would have been talking about it.
Forever.
No, you chickened out.
And then sick them on the Nazis.
But no, they were so delightful. It was fun talking to the guys. I think that they were astonished by the turnout. Mike McMahon kept saying to me before we went out, he's like, nobody's going to come to this panel, the Voyager panel. They're all going to go to the Voyager panel. They're not going to come.
Why would he say that? There's such
because
love
he's
for Lower Decks and Voyager.
He didn't understand it.
It's Voyager.
I tried to explain it to him. He didn't believe me. Now he believes me. And then when they went to the autograph table, and it was just around.
Let's not call it the autograph table. Let's call it the Treksperts, the Inglorious Treksperts shop, or the Inglorious Treksperts kiosk.
Right. For creator encounters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were astonished, man. Like, they were there for hours signing things. It was crazy. Like the turnout, the affection, and
it's a whole lot of love.
A whole lot of love. But that's what you.
No, I'm all out of love, though.
All out of love. Well,
but we weren't. Did love celebrate the love?
Exactly. We should be celebrating the love, and I think, that's the great thing about this panel. Like, we're celebrating the love.
I'm trying out lines.
Have for that
Sly
show.
Stone took you higher, but Mike McMahon took you lower. No,
I'm sorry.
I'm just working on catchphrases. It's his way.
Mike McMahon took me where?
Okay, maybe not.
Lower decks. Lower decks. Anyway, it's great fun. Those guys are so cool, and we would be fools if we didn't bring them back. But who
No,
knows?
no. Look, and it's funny. We wanted to do a Lower Decks episode for a long time. Obviously, it's a show that a lot of our listeners love. You love, I admire and respect, and I think that it was so great because Mike's been so busy, but we love Mike, and it was the first time meeting Brad and Kevin, who are also terrific. So I'm glad we finally got to have them on the show and have this conversation because these people say, oh, they only talk about TOS, which is bullshit. But we'd wanted to do something on Lower Decks for a while, and this was a great way to do it. I mean, this is like our headliner panel on Saturday, not to be confused with our headliner panel on Sunday, which was Space 1999.
Yeah, and Barbara Byrne.
Oh my God, yes, Barbara Bane. She was the bane of our existence.
That's right.
We had a lot of
crushing
good
this
Bane
plane.
jokes. We somehow we just kept doing Bane from Dark Knight Rises. So it was like, oh
The
my
moon
God.
was born in darkness. You merely adopted it.
I know, it's like, I've come to Vegas. Crashing this moon.
It's time for Vegas's reckoning.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh my God. I don't know what prompted all this. And then we were doing Cinnamon Carter stuff. It's like, oh, well, we had all these great Mission Impossibles. But by the way, I just realized something. I keep calling Chris Westlake Kevin Westlake because I was thinking about Kevin Levy in The Wings, our TV executive / prize master. But of course, his name is Chris Westlake, the composer, not Kevin Levy. So I apologize to Kevin Levy and to Chris Westlake for conflating the two of you. Although they remind me of each other a little, so I can see why I would make that mistake.
Chris did something really cool at the Inglorious Treksperts, whatever we're calling it, creator and encounter.
How about the creator? What do they call it? A creator space? No, what do they call what do they call those things? A maker space, right? That's where they do maker space is like where they do 3D printing, right? Like it's called a maker space. So like it's
the Bilderberg workshop.
Build a Bard.
Yeah.
It's a Build a Bard workshop where you create a writer. What is that?
It's a gangbang.
That's a little recurring joke from last week. Yeah,
that's right.
Let's keep that one going.
Chris did something super cool. He brought actual, pages of sheet music that he had for when he was conducting his, I'm not making this up, 90-piece orchestra. And he signed those, and that's what he gave you if you came around to the table and you got his
orchestra sitting somewhere with no parts.
That's right. They're partless.
But see, that was what was so cool about Lower Decks. It really was the son of the offspring of Next Gen. Because Next Generation had an orchestra. It wasn't the
Scott Evil
synth stuff. Yep. And then the show was so inspired. Obviously, Mike Bigman came on the scene with his famous 8th season tweets about TNG episodes from the 8th season, which were these satirical tweets that
Planet of the Rikers,
which was great, which really put him on the radar. And then, of course, he's so well known for his work in adult animation,
like Rick and Morty.
Well, Rick and Morty, was huge for him, and then of course Solar Opposites on Hulu, and Mike's just a huge Star Trek fan. I mean, when we did our writers' dinner at San Diego, it was the first time he met Ron Moore, and they just totally hit it off. I mean, it was great to see. And Mike just had so many questions, but Ron had all these questions for Mike. So I think it was a love connection.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, look, I think again, Ashley did such a phenomenal job. Because this was like a bucking bronco, this panel. It was really hard to, you were like, what do they call those guys in the ramrod? They call them ramrods, right? The guys who have to run the ranch. Like you were the guy who had to run the ranch.
Right.
And it wasn't easy because, Mike, Brad, and Chris are,
big personalities.
They're wild, right?
And they're bros, and they have history, and they have a shorthand that it's like the Treksperts, right? It's like they're just ways.
And then you introduced Tawny into the mix.
And that was bananas. Yeah.
This shit is bananas. Bananas.
Bananas.
Okay.
which are
now
delicious.
doing 90s references. Lovely. So anyway, I think without any further ado, why don't we, after these brief commercial messages, join the Lower Decks. Do we have a title for this episode? I don't want to just call it the Lower Decks reunion or Lower Decks celebration. Or what do you think? What's like a clever pun?
It's fandomated.
What else, Ashley?
Let me think on that one.
Okay, maybe by the time we come back after we listen to the panel, we'll have something. Okay, we'll see you after these brief commercial messages. After the panel, we'll be back with a few closing thoughts. Stay tuned.
For somebody more interesting. I'm Ashley Miller. I'm 1/3 of the Inglorious Treksperts, the least popular third, but the best looking. Aside from the Inglorious Treksperts, I'm also a writer. I was a writer of Thor and X-Men First Class, but who cares about superheroes anymore? Just ask Kevin Feige. Today, it is my immense pleasure to welcome some of the truly deranged, depraved, unhinged minds behind what I think is one of the grimmest, grittiest, most realistic takes on Star Trek that's ever been committed to film. I can't say enough good things about, or all good things, about any of these guys or their work. So I'm just going to bring them on out from Star Trek Lower Decks. I see a costume down here, man. I've seen so many Lower Decks costumes. There's another one. I'm going to bring them on out. We're going to have a conversation. You guys enjoy it if you like. I know I'm gonna. We'll try to make a little bit of time for some questions, if the questions are good. So without any further ado, let me bring out Chris Westlake, the composer for Star Trek Lower Decks. Chris, join us, won't you? Thank you. Good to see you, sir. Have a seat, wherever you like, except make sure it's there. Second, I would like to bring out the supervising producer of Lower Decks, Brad Winters. Now, supervising producers, they supervise producers. They're like babysitters, only different. Welcome. You may sit, Brad Winters. Either seat. I mean, you're like, maybe we should leave the big chair for Mike. Which brings me to Mike. Last, but hardly least, Mike McMahon. Welcome, sir. Please, have a seat.
Lower decks, lower decks, lower deck. We're just gonna do that for 45 minutes.
That's right. And about halfway through this panel, here's what we're all gonna do. We're all gonna gather together. We're going to go to the door, and we are going to charge over to the Voyager panel. We're just going to run in yelling, "Lower Decks!" or "Ritos, bitches!" and it'll be great.
Yeah, and then we're going to be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
Yeah, don't worry, nobody will be fired. It's pretty great. So anyway, boys, what's it like, to be a part of Star Trek's answer to Andor?
We get compared to Andor a lot. I'm like, guys, Andor didn't steal all that stuff from us. It was a coincidence. We're both about the rise of fascism and how corporations are working with them to their own peril, but, with Boimler. That's our side of it.
Yeah, Boimler is kind of the Luthen rail of...
Yeah, we've always said it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now, more serious. I don't know how you get more serious than Andor at this point.
Always start a panel with fascism. That's
Always.
what we've learned.
Because you know what? There's only one direction you can go from there. You can only get funnier.
Yeah.
You can only go up. All right. So, okay, here's the real question. On paper, Lower Decks is an absolutely insane idea that no one should have ever said yes to.
That's
How
right.
did you do it?
Yeah, that's actually very accurate. I think if you had said to me as a Trek fan that they were going to make some stupid friggin' cartoon version of Star Trek that's jokey, I would have probably been worried about it. But you know, the very beginning of Lower Decks was started with a conversation with Alex Kurtzman. And he was like, if you could do any Star Trek animated show, what would it be? And I was like, well, you're not going to like my answer to that because I'm a massive nerd and I'm not going to give you, you know, Rick and Morty, which is like jokes a minute. You know what I mean? Like just tons and tons of jokes, which I love Rick and Morty. I worked on Rick and Morty for years. I was showrunning Rick and Morty and I left Rick and Morty to make Lower Decks, which I'm very happy I did, and I'm still close with all those guys. But Lower Decks couldn't be Rick and Morty, it couldn't be Family Guy, it couldn't be all these shows I love. It had to be the most Star Trek. It had to be what I told him, a Star Trek based in the first 5 minutes of a TNG or a Deep Space Nine or a Voyager, where nothing bad has happened and they're just hanging out. That's the tone of Lower Decks, and that we had to take the rules of Star Trek more seriously than anybody else and like fit into the timeline and love every other show and be rule followers so that when we made jokes that we weren't satirizing or poking fun at Star Trek, that we were lifting it up. We were just doing, like, having a party and a fun time within this thing that we loved. And that was really hard. And it, you know, we did 50 episodes that I think we don't really have a stinker in the bunch. Like, I'm really proud of what we did. And
Now, Brad, are you shaking your head because you're like, oh, there's a stinker? No.
I'm agreeing.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing the math, and I'm like, no, they're all great.
some of the ones we thought were stinkers, everybody loves. So we're like, okay, well, we didn't mess that up as bad as we thought we did. But yeah, on paper, I think anything can be bad. And it's, if you have...
I'm living proof.
I think if you have the right motivation and you're making something with people that all get it, that all want to make something that's this loving embrace that still pushes the boundaries, that does what you've always seen in Star Trek, but also, oh my God, I just saw that Miglimo up here is throwing me off.
It's a cloacan, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know what a cloaca is?
No, it's a cloaca.
Cloaca, right. It's,
Yeah.
we'll have that biology lesson
You can
later.
Google that later. No, but I think the magic of Lower Decks was that there were a million ways to do it wrong, and we just, the art team, the cast, the writing, everything just came together exactly as better than I hoped. And you can only wish for that to happen. And then once we got it, we just held on really tight. We just tried to keep doing the things that were making us laugh. And we were always writing the seasons before you guys had seen the previous. So we didn't know what was going to work, if people were going to hate us. And so we were doing it for ourselves. And I think we just kind of like snuck in this show that we're really proud of, that a lot of people ultimately kind of joined us with, which was really cool.
Yeah. I'll give some history that season 2 was entirely written before season 1 aired.
Which was super scary. Because then we were watching season 1 being like, oh man, I hope they like this stuff.
Now, you said, and I think it's actually a kind of a good question to kind of throw out to the audience. You said that, you know, if you were a fan and you just read that somebody was going to do this show, maybe you wouldn't like it, right? Like, maybe it would be something that would have to win you over. Now, honest opinions. If you read the premise of Lower Decks, and at first you were like, I don't know, man. And then
It's
it had to win
all
you
on
over.
a space station? I don't know about
Exactly.
that, man.
Raise your hand if
They're
it had
not
to
going
win
to
you
toot
over.
around the quadrant? I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's quite a few people had to be won over. But that's okay, man, because like you said, it's like it's you know, the whole thing's on a space station, like with Deep Space Nine. My God,
I was talking about Babylon 5.
well, that too. Yeah, but you know what? They were the same. Oh wait, that's a whole different.
I
internet.
love that got a laugh in this room. No other room
Right, it's gonna get that.
is that getting a laugh in. Our people.
No,
our
absolutely
people.
not. For you, okay, so you're writing all of second season before season 1 begins. You know, at what point in season 1 for you, right, as a creator, for all of you, right, did the show lock in, and you went, oh, okay, now we're doing it exactly the way I wanted to do? I mean, maybe it was the very first scene, the very first moment.
No, I was super scared first season. first season I described as playing the hits of Star Trek. I was like, okay, if we're going to be a real Star Trek show, there's things we have to do by my definition. And we have to do a holodeck episode, we have to do a trial episode. The first episode has to be a tour of the ship so that you can understand the locations and the crew. The second episode, we had Rutherford changing his career path so that we could introduce a new audience to what these characters do in Star Trek in case they had never seen. So it was a combination of this structural high-wire act for new audiences while also being like, hey, everybody, we've seen all of Star Trek 2, though, so we have a comfort level with it. I didn't really know what Lower Decks was until the Mariner holodeck movie episode became what it was. That was originally going to be a cynical Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, stupid holodeck murder pile where we could just kill. I had this idea that was wrong. As Brad and Chris will tell you, I have many ideas that are wrong very often. That I was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we inverted the red shirt paradigm and killed the bridge crew off all the time and kept the lower deckers alive? And they were constantly like, we don't know the new bosses, but they get killed constantly. They're always on away missions. And but then I accidentally fell in love with the cast playing the bridge crew because they had to feel like a real bridge crew to care about the stakes being generated for the lower decks crew, which is why Shax gets killed and then comes back, you know, because I was like, well, I don't like Shax being gone anymore, and I'm a big baby. So that episode was originally going to be, oh, I'm realizing I'm doing the long answers. I got to do short answers. I apologize. Right. The movie episode should have sucked. It should have just been a hacky, violent, holodeck, stupid episode. But then while we were making it, I was like, okay, this should be a loving parody of the movies too. And then we started putting that stuff into it, and then I was like, well, this feels bad that it's just like zapping a bunch of people on the crew. Why would Mariner be doing it? Why does she behave like this? And it started becoming more about Mariner fighting herself. And then it was like, ultimately where the episode ended, where that moment where Mariner comes in, the holodeck Mariner comes in against Vindictus Mariner and Vindicta Mariner, that I was like, oh my God, this is what Lower Decks is. That the personal, emotional stories have to balance the ridiculous stories every time, because that's what makes you care. That's what makes the episode worth watching. We're never going to blow people up in a way that makes you want to watch that again. But that moment where Mariner's like, oh my God, therapy works. Like, I want to see that moment over and over again. And I think what I learned was like not staying rigid to the ideas that generated the episodes from like a conceptual phase, but always being open to finding the better version of it, whether that's in the record booth with Tanya and Jack and Eugene and Noelle, or whether that's in the edit bay when we're like, oh my God, this isn't working, there's no stakes. Who cares that they're on a planet of crystal people? What the frick is happening here? And always just trying to push to have the feeling that like I want to spend time with these funny guys, and that the action stuff isn't as important ever as hanging out with the lower deckers.
So, Chris, let me ask you. You know, your scores. I mean, they're not just great in the context of Lower Decks. Like they're just great scores. They feel like great Star Trek scores.
Thank you.
So, when you started the process with Mike, right? Like that whole, okay, this is what this is going to be. We need to spot this. Like, what was your goal? What was your intention? Like, were you approaching it as I'm just going to score the Star Trek episode here, you know, and avoid the comedy? How hard was it to stay away from trying to pump up the comedy? Which
it was actually surprisingly easy because, you know, it's so funny. The show came to me and it was like pretty complete by the time I saw it. So while these guys may have been freaking out a little bit in terms of how are people going to respond to this, I was looking at the show and being like, this is great. Because I just got to see it right at the end. All music happens. It's one of the last pieces that gets finished. There's a whole long line, so it's been mostly animated by the time it gets to me. And all the voices are in, and the writing was so great. And so I just felt like, ooh, I need to step up to the plate because look at all this great stuff that has happened, great work that's happened before me. And I think the big thing with the animation side of it is it almost had to not even feel like an episode of Star Trek so much as more like the films almost. Like we almost had to counteract a little bit. And our big rule was that the music could never be part of the joke. Right. The music can't be in on it. Music doesn't know it's in a comedy.
Yeah, that the music is serious is the joke.
Yeah, that is the joke. And it actually helps the jokes land better. And so I found that the show has a way of like telling you what it wants. And so anytime there was comedy, by the music kind of getting out of the way, like I would almost kind of like pause or stall a little bit or vamp to let the comedy play, and then the music kind of comes back in when we cut back out to the ships or whatever, it's...
The music part is so scary before it's in there because the jokes will be landing and the stakes will be landing, but you don't care yet. And then when the music is there, the music tells you how to feel. And like the moment when Riker shows up in the finale of first season, there's like a cue from TNG that comes in or from First Contact that like makes you remember how you felt when that happened. And then we would do the same thing where Chris's score would come in future episodes and you would suddenly start feeling, and like without the music in there I would panic because I'd be like, damn, it doesn't feel right yet, Do you want to tell them about the original lie?
What was the original?
About how many orchestra members we needed?
No.
Oh, yes. So when you pitched the show to the studio, correct me if I'm wrong,
We're probably not supposed to be saying this. So.
Yeah,
It's okay.
probably.
The show is
not.
canceled. They can't fire you anymore.
The expectation is that we were an animated show, and so a lot of other animated shows like Family Guy or Simpsons, there's usually like a smaller section orchestra, so you might have 25 players, something like that. But Mike built into the show.
Into the original budget, I was like, we probably need like a 60 to 90 person orchestra. Otherwise it won't feel right.
As the person who put together that first budget, I was told 75 people.
Yeah, 75 people.
And so every episode of Lower Decks, we had like half of the LA Phil performing all of our music that Chris composed.
It's really incredible.
Yeah, it's funny because Brad, when I introduced you, I joked that the supervising producer job means that you supervise producers and you're a giant babysitter, but that's actually kind of true, isn't it?
A little bit. These are my boys. I kind of like move the ball down the field from before writing has even started through like we're delivering rap materials for a season. So I'm kind of at every step, and I like to think I kind of know what Mike's vibe is and what he's looking for. So to be that voice in the room if Mike can't be there at kind of all of these stages to kind of keep it to whatever the initial vision was for that episode or for the series at the start.
So when he says, I want 90 people in the orchestra, you're like, yep.
Yeah,
I'll have a huge fight with him, but then with CBS and everyone else, I'm like, we got to do this.
Yeah.
And then I go back to him and say, you're insane. We can't do this.
Brad and I were assistants together at 20th Animation, making Simpsons and Futurama and everything, and at the studio, and that's where I first was writing TNG Season 8, the Twitter that kind of eventually became Lower Decks. So I would go over to Brad's desk and be like, does this make any sense? And he'd be like, yeah, it's hilarious. So like we were kind of making proto-Lower Decks together all the way from like our 20s until now that we're elderly people.
I'll always remember the sentient mountain, or Riker having the Riker on a planet of Rikers, and there's a civil war between bearded and non-bearded Rikers. Yeah. Oh, the non-bearded minority. Yeah.
Don't you have eyes? Some of us have beards in the lower part of our face, and some of us don't. Let that be your last battlefield. That's great stuff. Oh my God.
That's from Star Trek, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. I understood that reference.
So how did you rope Chris into it?
Chris is the first person I met in Los Angeles. He's the
so sorry.
godfather to my kids. He was working in movies. And he was like, am I allowed to say the Force Awakens stuff, or does nobody know that stuff? Like, he scored many cuts of Force Awakens before they finished it and had John come in and do his take on it. Like, nobody does like quick little John Williams style leitmotifs and maneuvers and textures and changes like Chris does. And I'm just such a fan of his work that we had been dying to work together forever. And then I had him working on Solar Opposites and Lower Decks, and he just did Golden Axe for me. So, and Brad, Brad was on Golden Axe as well. We made this show called Golden Axe for Comedy Central. It's not out yet. It's based on the Sega video game. You guys will think it's very good. You'll like it a lot. So,
It's great. It's great.
it's very fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, not to, to kiss your butt too much about the score, but the thing that I appreciated most about it was that it did have that cinematic feel, but at the same time, it managed to honor the fact that the 80s, 90s Star Trek Berman era shows essentially resorted to musical wallpaper, which is what they called it. So the fact that you managed to walk that line was always fascinating to me. Like,
It's crazy we have the best theme song, too.
oh, yeah. I mean, well,
It's wild.
Lies.
It's a long road to get to that theme song.
a long road. Getting from there to here. It's crazy stuff.
There were two scenes, I think, in the original pilot where I felt like if we got those right, then we had the sound of the show, where we both kind of were like, one was where Tendi gets on the ship, and I thought it was like such an amazing idea to have somebody coming onto the ship for the first time, and the wonder of that. And I looked at that scene, and I was like, this is it. This is the show. This is the heart. And where she looks out the Bayview windows at the star system and just sort of says, "Wow," and like kind
Like
of
the nacelles behind it.
yeah,
Work,
yep.
yeah.
And so that's the first time we hear like the Lower Decks theme, and the way that there was one other scene where it was just the shot, and this is the TNG side of it. I feel really lucky to work with Mike because he lets me use melodies. And he actually wants melodies, and I know that was like sort of a little
Love
bit of a
'em.
directive in the in TNG is no melodies, and so that's what the composers, that was the top down kind of an order that they were given. But one of the
No melodies on TNG?
well, they didn't want
Generally, no.
themes. In the episodes, he didn't. That was
One of
like
the
a
few exceptions was probably Jay Chataway's first score for Tin Man.
Yep, and the Inner Light as well. I think.
Yeah.
'Cause they finally
Sorry, we got all highfalutin. Sorry, forgot the whole conversation.
But
Go ahead,
the
Chris.
idea of a ship floating in space also is like it was so fun to get to do that. Of like,
Yeah, we talked about like how nautical can we get, right? Like there was a lot of discussion of like how Master and Commander is Star Trek music supposed to be.
yeah, it's ships. It's ships in the ocean. It's kind of like
Not military, not like
yeah.
tough guy stuff, like aspirational ships.
Like exploration and crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so Brad, so we got a sense of where it kind of locked in for these guys. I mean, your job was to make sure that Mike's vision really gets executed. So there had to be a point for you when you said, okay, now I fully have it in my head. Like, this is the the North Star. This is how I know when I'm like speaking for Mike or I'm interpreting, like, here's a design. Here is like sound design. Here's whatever. I know it. I know what he's going to say.
It's tough. I just always, this might not be the answer to the question, but I just remember it's kind of what you were talking about of we knew people were we had the cards stacked against us a little bit because of the premise of the show on paper. So a lot of season one with the entire team was, the artists were discovering Star Trek 2 maybe, so you have someone like, look at these Kazon guys. Look how cool, I like them. Let's put some in the background. And I'm like, no. That raises too many questions that we're not trying to answer that. And the cards are already going to be stacked against us, guys. Let's not make mistakes in the background. So it was a lot of that, a lot of like, let's try to not have any unforced errors with canon.
And I'd be like, let's put an exocomp in a Starfleet uniform.
No, well, we can settle it here. The window discussion of 2019.
We also just got in a lot of fights. I mean, we were figuring out what not just between us, but
but
like with the whole production, because it's like, when you're creating something for the very first time, there's like a couple hundred people that are all doing it, and you want the magic to feel like it was effortless when you guys watch it. But everything from like, I remember they didn't want to do the line, like the
lines.
I like that line.
So for animation, a character looking symmetrical?
They were like, oh, it's hard to draw the line. I don't want to keep track of the line.
Yep.
We can get rid of that, right? And I was like, keep the line.
The
I
show would
love
be
the
easier
line.
without the dots on their collar. Can we get rid of those?
Yeah, do we need the rank pips? We're like, we must. I'll just say that if we mess it up, that's street corn. Nobody will care. We need it.
These phasers look like vacuum cleaners. Can we make them look cooler?
Oh.
No.
I think that's a question we all asked when
Yeah.
Star Trek: The Next Generation premiered. It's like the phasers
We
look
like that they're
But-
not fancier
But
looking.
even down to the phaser sound effect. The initial sound effect team is like, this is a real crunchy sound. We can find a cooler sound.
Nope.
And I'm like, you can't. So they did it in 1989. Let's go with it. And I finally kind of got the sound effects team on board with, are you trying to, oh no!
Oh no! I think it's Tawny Newsome. Our panel's just been crashed. So it was kind of like the reverse of the operation I was proposing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
So you're not interrupting.
interrupt.
Lieutenant
Just,
Junior
see if
Grade
we can
Beckett
get
Mariner.
Another microphone on the stage.
You go grab it. I'll
Wait.
interview her.
Okay.
I'm sorry I interrupted Brad. I tried to come in on a big laugh.
No, we're like explaining how to make the show like everybody loves.
They love it.
Let's have
No,
a
they like
deep-
laughing.
Tani, do you remember being on the Star Trek cruise? and
microphone
you were
is
doing,
coming.
You were doing the sip and draw, and every question were highly technical production questions.
Yeah.
And finally, Tani's like, Brad's in the back row. I'm just going to go back there. And like, Brad.
Oh, yeah. I love when people are like, Tawny Newsome, we have a question for you about background paint techniques. Well, I don't fucking know. So I was just tossing them to you. So now I'm here to also be useless.
No. This is great. Tani Newsome.
Well,
I don't know if you guys know or not, but she was on the show.
Yeah.
Tony, they just asked, when did I know what Lower Decks was? When did we hit it? And I said, for me, it's the moment on the holodeck with the first movie episode where it's you versus you,
Oh, yeah.
and it's the oh my god therapy works when you're battling it out. When did you feel like the show clicked into place?
Clicked into place. I mean, I guess I just didn't doubt it from the beginning. I don't know if I'm crazy.
Your audition.
I think that's why it worked, because of you doing that in the audition.
I don't know, Mike. I just like, from the second I read the scripts, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a Trekkie. This is what I would want to see. And you were making what I wanted to see.
That should have been the trailer. Just you saying that instead of
Yeah.
that thing they did.
Oh, they didn't care in the beginning. They were like, everybody was the number of people that still come up to my table and they're like, I love Mariner so much. She's my favorite character. When the show first premiered, I hated it so much. And I'm like, cool, you didn't need to tell me the second sentence.
Guys, you never need to tell us that. We know. We know you hated it in the first time.
We know, but we also were just like, I don't know. I just knew that it was fine and that everyone was going to come around. I never doubted.
You know, what's funny to me, I mean, speaking as a fan, the first time I started to watch it through, I didn't understand. I went back, I rewatched, and then it dawned on me what the show really was. It's the original series becomes roommates with the next generation, and they have adventures. And once I locked into that, man, it was gold. It was perfect. You know, the other thing that I really appreciated about the show was it would have been very easy for you guys to do a show where the lower decks crew are the only competent people aboard the ship, and the bridge crew are the idiots who basically need the lower decks crew to get them in trouble. And it turned out that the bridge crew was incredibly competent. Like Star Trek features competent heroes. And
You know what
they
we
were.
figured out is the bridge crew see themselves as lower deckers within Starfleet. Like that, once we figured
Brilliant.
that out, and that the Cerritos in the California class was like, that was like, oh my God, that was really helpful. And then when second season hit, and Boimler had betrayed Mariner at the end of first, and that a lot of that was their friendship being reformed, and that I had gotten rid of, like, thank God I burned the secret that Mariner was the captain's daughter the first season.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. I was like, we don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, let's get rid of that mystery and just do Star Trek. And then the second season was like, leading up to the party episode where Boimler and Mariner had to bury the hatchet and just become Kirk and Spock. They just had to be best friends again. Like, it really, you learn a lot about Star Trek when you're making Star Trek on the fly. So
The party episode was, I think that's a great episode. That was a real crystallized stuff with Boimler and Mariner. I think it looked great. You got the great chase sequence
had
Barry
a
did.
Gorn serving hot
Yeah,
dog.
Gorn. Yeah, Jennifer Lewis as that bartender
Jennifer Lewis is a cool
who
bartender.
recorded from her closet because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And she was nuts. It was great.
You know, Actually, let's talk about the Star Trek of it all, because you're talking about how you don't really realize like the Star Trek of things until you're making Star Trek. So one of the things that I most appreciated about the show in general was that, man, like your stories were always legitimate Star Trek episodes. Like, and in fact, I think some of those stories are some of the best Star Trek ever made. For example, when I saw Wedge Dutch for the first time, mind blown. Like I would easily like put that in like my list of top whatever.
That surprised me too, because like, to me it was like, wait, they haven't done this before? I started trying to, when we were doing that episode, it was like, the part of the season we like to do like a sort of sketch comedy type thing, and that episode was supposed to fit in with the trial episode and the Boimler getting stuck in the, holodecky pods, and where Mariner gets kicked by a horse. And then we kind of, in examining lower decks on other ships, which it turned out budgetarily was too hard to do for a live action show, we accidentally made an all-timer Star Trek episode. And I remember when that episode came in, I like got a chill because I was like, oh shit, we did it. Like, in making fun of a thing, we accidentally did a good one. And I think you guys did it again with the crossover Strange New Worlds episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for all you did behind the scenes on that one. I don't think people know like what you did to, really help get that work.
I wish I could take credit for that, but the amount that you and Jack do on screen, and the moment when you show up, when Mariner shows up in that episode, my skin is crawling until you get there. And then when Boimler and Mariner are there together, I'm just like, oh, thank God they're together, because you guys together are so funny and so Star Trek and so caring. I don't know. That's my favorite episode of that series, and that's a good series.
I was just talking about this. Yes. But I was just talking about in an interview about the episode, and they asked me how I felt when I saw it. I don't know if I've told you this, but I kept like happy crying.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
too.
why am I doing this? I've read the script. I know what happens. And by the end of the episode, what I realized is you and Jack are so you in that episode. And it's a thing that I had experienced for years in a booth with an engineer and like with Megan. But I was like so happy. I'm like, oh, people will get to see. They'll get to see what it's like. This is my job. It's this.
It was you and Celia that made me tear up. Like that scene.
That scene.
That scene. You're so good in that scene.
Oh, thank you.
You're such a star. It like destroyed me.
I mean, all love to Jonathan Frakes and like, just to the team there for.
He played Riker in TNG and in Enterprise.
He's the mayor of Star Trek, as it turns out.
And he's married to a very famous woman. You may know him. The thing that I will forever take is like, people give compliments and I'm like, oh, it was a team effort, whatever. The one thing that I'm like so proud of that Jack and I did and Frakes is that cast forever tells us that like after that episode, they got to be looser. It just changed the tone on set a little bit to allow for a little more play, a little more improv, a little bit lighter, and it just loosened all those actors up. And I'm like, okay, I will take credit for that because I'm always coming in trying to goof around and mess everybody, be chaotic. And so if my chaos led to them having a more fun, lighthearted time that I think you see on screen, I'm like, yeah, Jack and I, we can take credit for that.
They credit you for that too.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, that's making me realize every time we had legacy actors on, and we'd be like, okay, you did the line. Now, play around. Ad-lib. Do whatever. And all of them are like, what?
Right. Because they came from DS9, and that was word perfect.
Do not change stuff. Don't change a word.
You want to change a pause, and you need to call Ira Bear.
I'll say one exception was Frakes. He right away was like,
oh, yeah.
I've got
Frakes knew to
jokes.
goof around the set. Well, he was the first one, too. He set the tone for everything. And we always would say, like, listen, we tried to get close to what you guys did. It's going to be a little faster, a little funnier. But if there's a line that doesn't feel like your character would have said this, please tell us. Change the line. And they'd be like, really? And it's like, yes, we want it to be good.
Because there's nothing a writer likes more than the actor to say, my character would never say this. But
do you remember Armin being like, Quark had a scream. I should do that scream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great. And it's after the fact, you're like, oh, no, duh. We should
I know, you overthink stuff, and then they just get to the crux of like, this is what's fun, you know, and I want to do it. Like, that's why Frakes came in and was like yelling red alert the second he walks on the screen. It's just like nobody does it better.
His favorite thing to say.
Yeah, he's great.
He's got that jazz improv background.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I made him sign a Horgon at the first record, and now I regret it. It was embarrassing. I don't
Well,
know
you
why
know,
I
you
did
were
that.
dark. I mean, you were drunk. It was dark. You don't
I
know.
still got it.
Yeah. Okay, so Tawny, I have to ask you, and then actually I want to get you guys, because I see you lining up, and we might have some giveaways for people asking questions.
Yeah.
But Tawny, so you go from you're walking into the recording booth, and you're off book. You know, you can run through lines however you want to run through lines. To suddenly now, you're on the set of Strange New Worlds. They're putting an actual costume on you. They're like, you know, in your face and in your hair and all that other stuff. And then there's a focus puller somewhere, and somebody's yelling action and cut. Was that weird for you to suddenly go from I'm doing the voice here to suddenly I am creating this character, like just 360 of the character. I'm like, it's the performance in my face, it's my body language, it's everything.
Was that weird for you?
You're sort of asking the question like I'm not an actor.
I was sitting here thinking the same thing.
I've been on set.
Oh, of course. But you're going from playing the character in one way, in one context, to creating a whole
I
new
just
aspect of the
eat
character.
everything on the crafty table. I'm like, this is for me, right? I'm just confused. No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. No, it was fine. It was better. It was like, yeah, this is how I want to be doing Mariner. I just, you know, like I'm a live action person because I like being with a cast. I like joking around in between setups. I love you, Brad, but you were like my only cast member because we'd just be in a booth for hours.
Years of just the two of us.
Just the two of us, which is fine.
Or over Zoom.
Yeah.
Remember those? The Zoom.
Get
Zoom.
out of here.
Zoom records.
I did not
Bad.
become an actor to be in a meeting all day. Get out of my face.
We stole Tawny from live action to be on the show, and of course.
I love it. I'm so grateful. I tell everyone's like, don't you just love animation? I'm like, no, I love Lower Decks. I love Star Trek. I love being a part of it however I can. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Was that Skydance?
Remember when you said you didn't think anybody would be here, Mike?
Well, yeah, because Voyager is happening. Right?
Yeah, I know. See,
But these are the real fans.
These are the real fans.
Yeah.
These are the real fans. Okay, so there's this small army of real fans. Guys, you're supposed to do that in the Voyager room. Yeah, you're supposed to do that to Kate Mulgrew. All right.
For all mankind. For all mankind.
I'm just seeing the Badgie back there.
I saw the Badgie too. Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh, and a
Oh,
Goodgie.
look at that. There are two badgies.
Wait, Goodgie's twice as big as Badgie.
There's a little badgie and a big badgie. We love all
I
that.
believe we've introduced characters into the pantheon of Star Trek, such as Peanut Hamper, Badgie, the Sexy Birds,
Mike,
Moopsie, the Moopsie.
I just want to say, Mike, I know you come to a fair amount of conventions. I maybe go to 3 times as many as you do. And I'm a big Trekkie, so I know the other series well, but you have hands down created more nightmare fuel in the fandom than anyone else. The number of people that come up to me with a Badgie or a Moopsie or a dog dressed.
It was like
Moopsie.
the Salt Vampire and then Billups.
Yeah. Agamus. The people come up to me with so many terrifying things. I'm like, why did Mike do this?
Wait, I just remembered this the other night. Do you guys, because someone was here dressed as the Salt Vampire.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who voiced the Salt Vampire in Lower Decks? John Delancey.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
I did not
He
know
was
that.
on his way out the
Because we
door,
can't-
and I was like, can you do one more voice?
We can't afford a lot of voice actors. They all got to do a lot.
That's right. You get 3 voices out of them for one low price. Okay, so questions. Sir.
Hi there. Can y'all can hear? Oh, cool. I would like to introduce you to this. This is Penny the Laptarg, LLAP, and this is her 3rd convention. And Mike, I would like you to lie to me and tell me that she was the inspiration for the lap targ on
I
Lower
can't even
Decks.
lie to you. She was.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We met
Oh, wait.
3
The
years
little
ago.
lapdog one?
Yeah.
No. She was the inspiration of the one from Wage Douche. The lapdog one is my friend's dog that I'd promised to get into the show, and I got it in the finale of the last season.
Would you like to say hello to Penny again?
I do actually want to say.
This is a good dog. This
Who's
is a real
a
good dog.
puppy? Who's a good puppy?
Look at that.
This is a real good dog.
Oh, you got your tongue sticking out.
She's kind of a little like
Lagging. Lower
Oh
decks,
God, please
lower
pee on the
decks.
speaker.
she's a meatloaf on legs.
You're so cute. This doesn't
itchy.
happen at San Diego, I'll tell you that much. Okay, go to your papa. Go to your papa. That's a good first question.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody else, bring their dogs up.
Oh wait,
And if
I
you
forgot-
have
wait,
giveaways-
I have goodies.
Yeah,
I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah.
There are giveaways.
Come back, sir.
There are giveaways. They're very.
Here's a Borg baby.
You can buy them at logo.
Brad,
Yeah.
anybody who asks a question, Brad has pins that were a crew gift that we had a couple extras of. So very cute
We were
little
cleaning
rare.
out the
Since
office.
the sun has burned hot in your sky, we have awaited your question.
Hi, Mike. I just wanted to thank you for dropping the original Moopsy sketch. It is on Memory Alpha now.
I saw that.
You guys did that so fast.
Megan Trevino, our line producer, reminded me I had sketched it. And I was like, no, I didn't. She texted me that. It's this. I would draw stupid things for Lower Decks every once in a while and give it to the artist. And they would like print up T-shirts to make fun of it because they were so bad.
My real question is, I mean, aside from the fact that Lower Decks is my favorite modern Star Trek, Tani in the panel the other day mentioned Futurama has come back several times, and I guess I just want to know, do you want to revisit this, even if it's a few years down the line?
I would come back to Lower Decks anytime.
They don't care about you, Mike. They wanna know
However-
about Tawny. Yeah.
It would have to be with the same cast. And it would have to be funny and good. We can't do worse Lower Decks. It would have to be good.
There.
Agree.
Sir.
Yes, hi. You kind of talked about it already, but when I saw videos of like Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid like goofing around and having this chemistry, how much do you allow these actors to change the script? And can you give me examples of something that they've done that wasn't originally planned?
And when Tawny auditioned for the show, I said, can you now just ramble about Star Trek? And she was so funny and the exact right tone that I added that to the pilot. It's when she's rambling at the end of the
What
episode.
about a sword guy? We need a sword guy.
Yeah, and
Deanna Troi wore a jumpsuit for some reason.
Yeah. her body be banging.
And so having somebody who could come in and knew why the show was funny, knew why it had heart, but could also improve it all the time was amazing. And then Jack, to be Boimler, was supposed to be the kind of like straight man foil for Tawny's Mariner, but then he was fucking funny too. And so he started doing it, and then everybody was doing it, so like...
Say that like it annoyed you.
Well, it's like scary to have a plan and then it goes better than you expected because you have to admit that you never know what you're doing all the time. But luckily, Jack and Tawny are so great, and we hardly ever recorded them together. Together they work, and they work when you're hanging out with them, and they work when you stitch their audio together. And I remember we had a bunch of options for Mariner and Boimler that the studio had to approve when we were developing the show. And I purposefully edited Tawny and Jack together against everybody else because I was like, this is it. This is what's working. And I remember being in the meeting with the head of the studio, and when your guys' audio came up, I saw him like circling, you know? And I was just like, yes, I was right.
Actor B and actress A.
So we're running very short on time. But as it turns out, I'm a Trekspert, so it's my goddamn stage. But we are going to try to proceed quickly through the questions.
I'll answer faster. So let's do fast answers, not Mike answers.
Hi, I'm
Thank you.
Kara. Lower Decks does a lot of like really interesting parodies of classic Star Trek episodes. Is there any classic Star Trek episode that you didn't parody that you wanted to?
Oh my God, like every one of them. I would have just kept going forever. There was like I wanted to do this Inner Light thing where Boimler and Jet Manhaver both got inner lighted, but only Jet remembered when they came out of it.
That was attempted for like 2 seasons.
I tried so hard for that.
We love Marcus.
I don't
who
know.
voices
We
Jeff.
did a lot of we did 50 episodes, so we got a lot of my favorites in there. The thing that got away from me is I really wanted to do a Billups growing up on his planet with all the Ren Fair types story, and I want them to do that as a weird series of romantasy novels where nobody ever actually has sex. So anyway.
What do you want them to be called?
The Dry Prince.
Oh my God. Thank you, ma'am. Come forward and accept your prize.
Hi, sorry, kind of related, but you guys are all such phenomenal Star Trek fans. I'm wondering if there's anything that you wanted to poke fun at but decided not to due to potential fan reaction, studio reaction, or in lieu of that, what your favorite series and captain is. And shout out to Solar Opposites.
Yeah.
Show.
Favorite series and captain is Lower Decks. I'm just going to stick with that. There were a million things we thought of doing and then didn't do just out of respect. Like, if an actor passed away, I would usually avoid messing around with their characters because to me, I didn't want to add something post being able to talk to them about it. So like, I was a huge Odo fan, you know, and I really wanted to work with Renee, and it was just like, it just didn't happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's just so much. If we ever didn't do a thing, we never got an edict from the network or the studio. It was always just out of respect and wanting people to have a good time and not bumming people out accidentally.
Thank you. Sure.
I was just curious, how hard, you guys make so many references and deep cuts in every episode, so how hard was it to not accidentally misrepresent the lore, and how did you keep it all straight?
A lot of that, Tony, I'm going to bring up the Odo stuff. Okay. So, a lot of that was me remembering stuff and then researching it to make sure I had it right, that I remembered it right. And then a lot of it was a couple of the writers on the staff were deep Trekkies, comedy writers and Trekkies. Brad knows more than anybody about every series except Enterprise, which he hasn't seen. And occasionally...
Don't out me. They'll hurt me. Bacula's here.
And he's going to get you. He has a dog in that show.
And he can travel through time.
And then every once in a while, I'd get a midnight email from Tawny being like, what was it that I got?
Odo
Odo's
has a last name.
Odo has a last name. You can't say Odo. And so if it would get through all of our filters, it wouldn't get past Tawny.
Well, you made a joke about Odo being a one-name character like Cher, and I said, I'm so sorry to break this to you, but those Cardassian overlords did give him a last name. It was Odo Ita.
So it was a team effort. And if we messed anything up, it's because Tawny didn't catch it at the very end of the day.
Also, you ignored me. You were like, it's funny, it's fine.
Well, that's everybody's favorite joke in the show. I was so right.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm an actor who's only really worked live action, but shows like Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites and of course Lower Decks are kind of inspired me to want to work as a voice actor. And Tawny joining is amazing for this panel, so I was just kind of wondering if you guys had any advice for someone who kind of wants to try voice acting.
Get hired? I don't know. I don't have good advice because I just got so lucky. I'd really just, they were auditioning for a thing I knew deeply, like my hyperfixation is Trek. The only thing Trek and Talking Heads, I could just ramble about. So
I'd say
I got so lucky.
We found Tawny after listening to hundreds of auditions because Brad was a huge fan of her podcast and was like, this is going to be Mariner, and put her on the list. And then she came into the audition, and I was like, oh my God, there's literally nobody else. So what I would say to you is...
Get a podcast.
Get a podcast.
Move to Chicago. Get into improv.
Things you're strong at, do them all the time. Have a blast doing them. Get your audio out there. Get yourself on screen. It's the same thing with writers. Just constantly do your art, and then people who like the stuff you like, you're going to find them.
I don't know if you know who Sungwon Cho is, but started as doing, voices on YouTube, but we recently used him in a project, and we knew of him because he was doing voices and putting it out there.
Don't wait for people to give you permission. Just do all your stuff.
Do it. Work with your friends, too.
Yep.
Unless they
No, Chris.
Okay, Mike.
So
I'm
we
gonna-
have time for
Lightning
let's go with
round.
3 more lightning round. Lightning round. We know you love them.
My name is Vivian. I've just always wondered, what is Brad Boimler's real hair color?
Thank you, Vivian. His real hair color is purple. Next question.
But he
Wait,
says
get your
he
pen,
dyes
Howard.
it.
Go.
Vivian.
Vivian, you forgot your pen.
Vivian, come get your pin.
Lightning round.
He says he dyes it though.
Yeah.
But that was those mean girls.
But we didn't say he wasn't just touching up the purple.
This poor woman is trying to fire lightning.
Okay, is Jack Ransom related to Rudolph Ransom from
I can't answer that.
Alrighty then.
That's an important question for a future date.
No, don't go away.
Get your pin.
Don't leave.
I have to get rid of these.
He left your pin on the stage like it's a treat.
So as it turns out, the lightning doesn't need to be quite so lightning.
Don't tell them that. Lightning round.
Oh, okay.
This is a much
Lots of
slower
lightning.
question.
Bring it. Make it flash. Go.
This is going to be an Inagata questions. So, how do you balance the sort of like metatextual, like Star Trek about Star Trek, and just Star Trek about the themes of Star Trek? How do you keep the balance from going too far in the self-referential?
Getting in big fights with all the writers, the producers, losing more hair than I had at the start. This is the hardest comedy ever to write because you have to do all the stuff Star Trek always has had problems with and all the stuff comedies have problems with. But the word balance comes up all the time. If somebody would pitch a really funny story, but it couldn't be a Star Trek episode, or it didn't fit into the themes, I would have to say no, and I was the bad guy. And a lot of comedy writers got really mad at me. Because they'd be like, this is a great idea. And I'm like, I know, it doesn't fit into Star Trek, though. This just isn't, the limitations, the magic trick of this show is that it's real Star Trek the entire time while also being funny and occasionally swearing. Unless you're the Doctor, it's always swearing. But, you know, for every time we nudged into Mugatos or bird sex planets, you know, we also had, like, things that could only be in Star Trek, and finding that and finding those edges was what the show was the entire time, and we would have kept doing it forever.
Which it's also making me realize, big shout out to Dr. Aaron McDonald,
Yeah.
Nate Ward, Kat Lynn. We had a lot of other people helping out.
We wanted people who weren't afraid to say, this sucks.
Yeah,
Or
that's
the
not how
science
sons
makes no
work.
sense.
Were there network executives who were like, oh, pick me? I can.
This network executives I didn't care as much about. I cared more about like Kat Lynn, who's like such a Trekkie, or Dr. Aaron, who would be like, you can change some of these words and the science now works. You know, like that was important.
Next. You can ask it from way back there, sir. It's fine.
I probably
Just
could.
project.
I love Starbase 80. Was there any other jokes or headcanon that you had about it that just didn't work in? It's like the most Lower Decks episode of Lower Decks in a way. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted it to be our Deep Space Nine. I had pitched Starbase 80 as a spin-off like around season 2, and I wanted it to be like a station that just had never been updated and still had the decontamination gel and like all that stuff. And when it was in the show and became about having the kind of quantum realities aspect of it, that just felt kismet. Like that was kind of something we lucked into in the finale. But I've always loved jokes that come out of nowhere in Lower Decks becoming important later on. Like Tawny improvising where we're like, you're running down a hallway, make running noises. And she's going, get out of the way, Jennifer. And then it's like, that's not in the script. And then we're like, okay, but that was funny. So then one of the artists draws an Andorian getting shoved out of the way. And then like 8 episodes later, I'm like, what if those two fell in love? You know, like, and that's Starbase 80 happened the same way. So it's planting these little comedic seeds and then over a long period of time, fleshing out the world and letting it grow. Because the show is Lower Decks, there is no character or place that couldn't become the star in Lower Decks for an episode.
Do you remember Tawny's impact on the Starbase 80 episode?
I don't.
I don't.
Cassia, voiced by Nicole Byer,
yeah.
only happened. We went out
She's
and
my
they're
friend.
like, no. And then Tawny.
She didn't know that she had
Yeah.
been asked.
Yeah, Tawny made it happen.
Her team turned it. Well, I shouldn't say this. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But it came back that she wasn't going to do it. And I texted her and I was like, do you want to be on my Star Trek cartoon? And she was like, yes. Also, are we going to dinner later? I was like, yes.
I get a text from Tawny that says, how much technobabble is there? I looked through the whole script and I'm like, she'll have to say grav plate and El-Orion. And Tawny's like, I can make this work.
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where
Is
did
it over?
they go?
All right, everybody.
It's like wink of an eye. Where'd they go?
Thanks for letting me crash. I have to go back to the table. If you want, come say hi. This is my last day here. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Yeah, and we're going to be sitting, signing stuff at the
Please go
Treksperts
sign at the
table.
Treksperts table. Please come see
Talk
them.
about what
Come say
Chris is
hi.
doing.
Go see Tawny.
Chris, tell them what you brought.
Oh, I brought a stack of scores from the show these are the scores that I conducted from when we were using all the incredible musicians. Which, by the way, the one thing I did want to say is that we had our trumpet player was the same trumpet player who played the solo on Deep Space Nine, and so it was like this incredible.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, John Lewis.
That's huge.
That's huge.
But Chris
Bring
just
that
left
guy.
out that sheet music he brought. He's going to be signing for you guys for free at the Treksperts table. So
Yes.
if you want some of that, go and stand in line.
And also, I'd like to remind you all that it's very important if you go out these doors after this panel that you do need to shout, lower decks, as you go, because the convention loves it when we make noise like that. So
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. We have some great
you.
programming coming up, and we'll see you in a few.
Okay, and we're back. Anybody have their episode title yet? Lock in. Down. Ashley?
Nothing.
I've got nothing for you, man. I got so many panel ideas in my head. Like I could tell you what the Barbara Bain panel, the Space 99 panel should be, but I can't tell you what I think like the Lower Decks panel should be called.
Lower Decksperts.
Lower Decks.
The Lower Decksperts. Now that's good. Lower Decksperts.
Yeah.
And we have a Lower Decksperts right here. Ashley Edward Miller. He's an honorary Lower Deckspert.
That's right. And the wonderful thing about Tiggers is that I'm the only one. So there you go. Or something. I don't know.
I love Tigger.
Me
Tigger's
too.
great. But I have a soft spot in my heart for Winnie the Pooh too.
Yeah.
I
Bother.
like everyone the 100 Acre Wood, except that Christopher Robin.
Yeah, that guy. What's
I'm
up with
not a
that?
fan.
Tigger is loved by everyone who loves ADHD.
Well,
I
he's
feel
just
attacked.
fun. You know, he's a fun guy. He's a party time. He likes to party.
Annoying.
You find him annoying? I don't find him annoying.
I find him annoying.
See,
Love Tigger.
I
The way I
don't.
look for him, I find him annoying.
Wow. Do you like Winnie the Pooh though? And
Love
his
Winnie the Pooh.
Quest for Honey. How could
You
not
like
Winnie?
Eeyore?
Eeyore's a little bit of a depressive character.
Really? See,
Yeah.
all of those characters represent
The id, the superego, and the ego. It's like Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
McCoy?
they're all various brain diseases.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah,
No.
look it up.
What? That's what they're A.A. Milne based on brain diseases?
Yeah.
I don't think people call them brain diseases.
Personality disorders, okay?
Okay, yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think like people have ADHD
It's
or
so, like,
brain
which
disease.
one of them is like, borderline personalities, or all they want to do is like have sex and ruin your life? Like, I mean, just
That's rabbit.
See, I kind of
Oh,
relate
okay.
to Owl, the pompous asshole. But
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
wouldn't go
I
down
see that.
road.
what?
I wouldn't go down that road if I were you.
Oh, okay. But he was very smart, that Owl. Very smart. Actually, I relate to Winnie the Pooh. He likes his meals. He likes his
does.
meals.
He
a little
loves
too
his
much.
honey.
And he likes his
Honey.
sleep. Honey. And then, of course, you got Piglet. Piglet, who, of course, who's also Jack the Ripper.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
that's the best.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because John Fiedler was the voice of Piglet.
Everybody die.
I'd like to see a crossover
See that
between
like on like Piglet.
Wolf in the Fold and Winnie the Pooh. It'd
Yeah.
be so great.
Who in the fold?
Could you see he's about to kill Rue,
Hell.
and then Mama Rue comes in and like saves the day.
That's Kanga.
Kanga's a badass.
No,
She'll hop on in and she'll kick Piglet's ass.
The
Or
Wrath
Mr.
of Kanga.
Hengist. But then the great thing is, after Jack the Ripper leaves Piglet's body, then Piglet's fine and everything's good. Nothing happens to Piglet.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want anything to happen to Piglet.
Piglet's still dead though.
Oh, you know who I don't like? That rabbit.
Christopher Robin.
Rabbit. Rabbit's really annoying.
He is
Yeah.
kind of annoying.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. Oh, what do you
Mariner.
think of the
I don't even
heffalumps?
know her. There's my panel idea. My panel.
The heffalumps. I don't like the heffalumps. They were later. I like the original Winnie the Pooh, like the early Disney Winnie the Poohs. Once the heffalumps come in, I'm not that into it.
Well, the heffalumps are in the books too, so.
They are.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
I don't know.
But
I
they're
don't like
just
that.
imaginary. They're
I like those early.
hallucinations.
I'm not really the early books. I like the early Disney movies of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, well, the early Disney movies are the late books.
And then there
That's
was the
true.
Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which was a
Yeah.
Saturday morning show.
My favorite was on Pinky and the Brain. It was Christopher Walken in the 100-Acre Wood.
Oh my God, I'd love to see that. That's
Brilliant.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Christopher Walken.
We had fun. Silly Willy. Not Zog.
Instead of cowbell, he needs more honey.
He needs more honey.
Okay, so that.
All right. That was it, kids.
Okay, well, listen, this was another great episode. So happy to have Mike McMahon, Brad Winters, and
Chris Westlake.
I was saying Chris Westlake joining
He's a
us.
sweet guy.
They were all great. They were all great. They were so happy to be there. We were so happy to have them. I hope if we do this again, we can bring them back because there's so much more to talk about with Lower Decks or to unpack, as they say. So big thanks to Mike and Brad and to Mr. Westlake for being part of this amazing panel. So anyway, until next week, when we'll be back with an all-new episode, I want to remind people that if they can't get enough, or if they just can't get enough, the old Depeche Mode
I just
song.
can't get enough.
Can't get
I just
enough
can't get
of these Las Vegas panels. You can check us out for real at GalaxyCon Des Moines, September 12th to the 14th. GalaxyCon St. Louis, October 10th to October 12th. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, November 7th to the 9th. Columbus, Ohio, December 5th through the 7th. And out on the open seas, the man who worked on Poseidon will bring you Star Trek The Cruise this winter, February 20th through the 27th.
Oh, Poseidon has nothing to do with the.
And you'll be like Gene Hackman. You got to wear a collar though. You got to be the priest.
I'd like Poseidon.
You don't want to be
without the
Shelley Winters.
adventure.
Who would David Doctor be? But you're bringing your brother on the cruise because we're not going.
He'd be Pamela Sue Martin.
Pamela. Oh, I'd love.
Oh
Pamela
man,
Sue
Pamela Sue Martin.
Man, she was the first Nancy Drew.
Yeah, she
loved her.
was. The
Now I
best
was
Nancy
her.
Drew.
I was younger, so it was okay then.
Yeah,
Like now
exactly.
it'd be bad, but back then I was a little younger than she was, so it was okay to think.
Well, you're
oh
still
my God.
probably a little younger than she is, but yeah.
Well, that's true. But Pamela Sue Martin at the time.
I mean, in
ooh,
context,
man.
yeah.
I love the Hardy
Very
Boy
personal
Nancy
and
Drew
big.
mysteries because I read all those Hardy Boy books.
Yep.
And I love the Hardy Boy books. The show was not great, but
No.
remember that was.
But I liked it when I was a kid.
Right before the premiere of Battlestar Galactica. That was the Glenn Larson show before Galactica, and it was always disappointing. I remember because it would be Hardy Boys, then the next week would be Nancy Drew.
Right.
And
I mean,
I'm
like, it should just be
oh.
Nancy Drew.
No, I just wanted the Hardy Boys
Right,
because
well,
I was
Nancy
hoping
Drew.
it would be good. But then occasionally it would cross over.
Yeah.
Remember
the
we crossed
crossovers were the
over?
best.
That was great when you had the best of. You had everything. You had the whole Megillah. Okay. Anyway, Darren's like, let's get the hell out of here. He's like Kirk at the end of City on the Edge of Forever. He's got his communicator
outta
open. He's pissed off. Edith Keeler is dead, and we got to go. So please rate and review Inglorious Treksperts today, wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll subscribe on Spotify at TrekspertsPlus.com. And you'll get access to bonus episodes, early commercial-free drops, and more. Inglorious Treksperts is a production of the Treksperts Podcast Network. Mark A. Altman, Darren Doctorman, Ashley Edward Miller, executive producers, Pete Holmstrom, Brian Mixer, producers. Mark Rivera is our audio sound mixer. John Carney is our social media manager. Inglorious Treksperts is copyright 2025 by Treksperts Plus and available wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on video now via Spotify and YouTube. And you could review Inglorious Treksperts wherever you listen or share your thoughts on your favorite social media platform or via email at trekspertsplus@gmail.com or on the Inglorious Treksperts Discord channel. And that link is in the show notes. So check out the show notes. That's in the, it's a little description that comes with your podcast. There's like a little link and you can click on it, it'll take you there. And that's really about it for us. So on behalf of Ashley Edward Miller, Darren Doctorman, myself, Mark A. Altman, keep on trekking ingloriously, of course. Someday they're going to want a piece of our action.